If everyone would silence your cell phones for guests and visitors. I'm Joe Patchen, president of our club, the Dublin-Worthington Rotary Club, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the 13th meeting of the 51st Rotary year of our club, and of course, the first meeting of the year of 2026. So there'll be some adjustments to be made here. If I may ask Tom Rice to provide our invocation and pledge of allegiance. And someone can provide the microphone.
Yeah, so education that we have right. So let's let the fake Tom Rice do it. Yeah. Let us pray. Dear God, we thank you for a new year and the gift of Rotary and the gift of laughter and friendship and purpose. And we pray that you would guide us to be good stewards of all the blessings we've received, and that we might indeed make a difference so that others might experience blessing too. Be with us in this meal and in our conversation and in the year ahead. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's my job.
Oh, you're it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, please.
Great.
And John will introduce visitors and guests.
Great. First meeting in the new year.
Yes, it is.
So I can't wait to see what else goes wrong. So it's going to be
Three more things at least we were to predict.
So, Jenny Saunders is here, who's a strong supporter of our club. FC Bank. She is going to be introduced by Jennifer Best, and she'll also introduce Jenny's associate. We're pleased to have Tom Rice, the other Tom Rice. Welcome back. And also Rebecca Herman is going to be inducted today as a new club member right over here. And we have Nicolette Juby and Nicolette saw about us on our website. She's just returned to Columbus, but before that, she lived right across the street. She knew where we were located. Didn't care if it was a bunch of old people here. I wanted to ask her now, what does she think? But I didn't. And she's thinking about maybe exploring service organizations, and her parents said Rotary's okay. So now tell us about other things that you do in your professional life.
So I'm Nicolette. I'm a financial representative with Western and Southern Life. So anything financial you can think of, wealth management, estate planning, retirements, investments, we do. This is a little bit of a transition for me. I used to be a social worker working in foster care in Columbus. So I'm still helping people, but a little bit different. But as he said, I used to live right across the street, and I love this community a lot, and I wanted to get into service, and especially with this community, since I'm pretty sure I'm moving back across the street. So I saw you guys, and I just wanted to get involved, and you guys have been so great, so sweet so far. So I really appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, great.
Welcome.
Wow, so your background's a perfect match. So hope you follow up. We'll follow up with you, too.
All right, and now comes the time for introduction. So if anybody needs to step up and talk for their committee of ongoing events, let me know. Well, Jim's coming up, and whomever else. Let me say that Christy Bruffy is organizing after hours for later this month. We're going to be at Pins. Dates unset yet. There will be pizza and bowling and frivolity on a date yet to be set shortly. Look for an email from me in the next couple of days on that. You're up. We don't have a microphone. If we're keeping track of everything that's gone wrong, we're up to 3. And I promise you 2 more. So go ahead.
We're up to 4. This is not an introduction, it's an announcement, so.
Good.
You might have noticed these brightly colored pieces of paper on your table. They're not just there as holiday decorations. We are announcing, as you know, our Super Bowling event on February 1st. I'm pleased to announce that we already have 2.5 teams signed up. Jim Allen is looking for 2 extra people to fill out 1 team. So if you know of anybody, please let him know. Otherwise, please take this and pass it around to any organization that you're a part of. It's a lot of fun, as you all know. We all have a blast doing this every year, and we'd love to get as many outside organizations as we possibly can to participate. So start thinking about bowling. Thank you.
And I'd just like to say, yes, it is a fun event. And if Tom Rice or any Tom Rice brings a team, they're going to cream you. So don't expect to win. It happens. Go right ahead.
It's our handicaps. Right?
Yes. Okay, that's right.
Okay, I'm announcing that NTSC team from Brazil is here now. We get them on the 24th through the 29th. And I need 1 more host family. I'd like you to participate during the week. We'll be down at Ohio State and down to the state of Ohio and around the town in high schools for their vocational. They're basically 5 from representing the educational end of it in Brazil. So we're in the vocational thing, taking them down to the State House, to Ohio State, to research organizations and others that are attached to the development of education. So remember from Sunday through or Thursday or so of that week, the 24th through the 29th, if you'd like to participate, we need some chaperones, and we welcome anybody that wants to see what a taste of Brazil is like.
Thank you. And our regular meeting is on the 22nd, but we've discerned this morning that there's been some communication confusion over that. So we're going to have to move the 22nd to the 28th. So everybody who has some responsibilities in making sure we get fed or bringing yourself here, let us know that. Yeah, we want the Brazilians to be here since that was the topic. Then they were the subject. So you'll see a note from me on that too. So there we go. Are we up to 4 or 5 now? Is anyone counting? Okay. So I have the pleasure of announcing that Jerry Katz, our most favorite sergeant of all time, will now take over and make an error of some sort as well.
Tom Rice, the original Tom Rice. Would you carry the pot today? I'd like to send you around because people don't know who you are, but they should, because you are one fine gentleman. That's the best thing.
Jerry, he just retired, so this is a good job for him.
Well, yeah, doesn't pay anything. He doesn't need your support. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Given the speaker today, I'm looking for happy dollars. So who's got happy dollars? Right back there, our favorite insurance man.
First of all, to our president, to state that he's our favorite sergeant is quite a slap in the face too.
You didn't hear the quotation mark.
That was simply, bring this magazine out. So the Worthington Hills community area around it has its own little monthly magazine. And they highlight a different family, little piece every month. To show you the difference in the genders. All my wife's friends said such nice things to her about this. The verbal abuse I took was on. It started with, why is she still with you? And ended with,
How much older is she?
oh, she's older than me, but don't tell her I said that. Meet the Jerry these sitcom.
More happy dollars.
We want to see it. Yeah, we want to see it.
Speaking of your slaps in the face, John said, you know, thanks Nicolette for coming to this group of old people. I'm still legally in my 30s. But my actual happy dollars is I'm so thankful that my kids went back to school.
Yeah, your neighbors. All right, right here, Joe.
A few weeks back, I gave happy dollars out for the fact that my son had got a 4.0, and I was also glad that I didn't know what my daughter's college scores were. But I'm happy to say now I know what they are, and they were excellent too. So I apologize for defaming my daughter.
Yes, she needs an attorney. Peggy.
Plug for one of our clubs in our district, Marysville Club. They have a spot in this month's Rotary magazine that one of the members, Pete Evans, his daughter has disabilities. And she's a member of their club and she's the official greeter all the time. So we need to broaden our outlook on including them as members.
Very good. Thank you. John.
My wife is happy. I am leaving for a 3-week tour to India on January 18th, and my wife is looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, it's a little more quiet. She said it'll be peaceful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Another enigma. Yeah. Alan.
Well, I'm happy, not because I'm here, but because maybe next week after our son sees his hip doctor because he fell and popped it out for the 3rd hip replacement. Week, I hope, and that we can go to Florida.
Hey. Any other happy dollars? Get on speak. Oh, go right ahead.
I get to be inducted today.
That's right. We like the prepayments. As I started to say, given the speaker today, I thought I'd give you a quiz. Thought I'd give you a quiz on the Federal Reserve Board. So, you know, the first question would have been, how many members are there on the Federal Reserve Board? And there's 7. That's too easy. You'd have all gotten it. So I didn't do that. What is their term? Well, that's 14 years. You would have known that. So I'm not going to do that one for sure. What's the Federal Open Market Committee and how many members are on it? Well, there's 12. And you would have known that because Don Motley's in the crowd. And you can't ask a question about history or anything of that nature, and he'll get it. So I'm not doing that. And the last one would have been, well, how many meetings does the Federal Reserve Board have? And the answer there is so easy, you would have gotten it. It's at least 8 every year. So since I didn't do that, I thought I'd do something that would quiz you on snow, because you all know about snow. So what do you think was the largest loss of life due to snow in the United States? And I can tell you it happened on March the 11th through the 14th in 1888, It was known as the Great White Hurricane. There were 400 deaths, 200 of them in New York City alone, and prompted really the start of subways in Boston and New York. So your question for the quiz is, how high were the drifts? 30 feet? Not enough.
I was gonna say 32.
How much?
32.
32, that's a great guess. You're wrong. Everybody put in $1. 50 feet. 50 feet. That's a 5-story building, folks. All right, you missed that one. So let's go on to January the 27th and the 28th in 1922. It was known as the Knickerbocker Storm because it hit the Knickerbocker Auditorium in Washington, D.C. There was only 28 inches of snow. However, the auditorium had a flat roof. During intermission, the roof collapsed on the theater. 98 people lost their lives because they were going to the theater. Now, there was a silent film being played that night. And so your question to answer is, what movie was played?
What was the year? Charlie Chaplin.
1922. It was a silent film. 19.
Chaplin?
No, you're all wrong. Put in $1. The film was Get Rich Quick, Wallingford. Now, I know you've seen it because it's a classic.
This is going downhill.
Well, then I won't give you any more, John. You get to put in another $1, passing the sergeant.
Wrong. Pronunciation was Groot.
No, not in those days. You get to put in another $1 for harassing the sergeant. No respect. And that ties in, actually, you would have thought I planted those people. Today is, I'm not going to take it anymore.
He's still my favorite, Sergeant.
The head sergeant. Sure.
This is going to be dealt with at the board meeting, people. Don't worry. We're going to sort all this out, I hope. All right. We are graced with a marvelous speaker. What? Oh, we're gonna put that off until my eyesight is stronger. I have to read it off my phone and print this big. So Jenny's first. If you would be so kind as to introduce our speaker, I think you're going to do a better job than I am.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not going to say that, but Jenny Saunders has been a good friend of mine for many years now. When she came on as president of FC Bank, her goal was really to be involved in the community and support the community. And I think we have all seen that support in multiple organizations, including us. But a little bit about Jenny. She lives in the Worthington area with her family. She's president of FC Bank. Last year, she was president of the Ohio Bankers League. Am I right that ended in 2025? So your super busy year is done. And in 2024, she got the award of CEO of the Year by the Ohio Chamber of Commerce. So all these awards and positions she's held really go to say that she's very knowledgeable about banking and finance. And so she's going to talk a little bit today about the state of the economy from a banker's perspective. So please help me welcome Jenny. Oh, and her associate Dana Ross is here too. We didn't introduce her, but Dana is here with Jenny.
Well, thank you for that wonderful warm welcome. And I don't know that I really know what's going to happen with the economy this year. It's kind of like, shake the 8 ball and see what happens, right? I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty. I think everybody here feels that from a banking perspective, and I'm going to share some national sort of vibes per se, and then kind of where we think we're going to be in Worthington and how that kind of impacts us locally. I know many of you here are small business owners, so you know how it's impacted you, the uncertainty really more than anything else. From a banking perspective, whenever the administration changes, has a big impact on us. It didn't used to be quite that way, but with the start or the inception of executive orders, typically whoever comes in, issues all those executive orders and then cancels all the ones before and then issues a whole nother set. And banking tends to be one of the political footballs when that happens. We are favored people when things are going well, or like when we helped with PPP during the pandemic. And then often, if things are not going well, we're worse than used car salesmen. I hope nobody here is a used car salesman or the gum on the bottom of the shoe. The one thing, and I did recently just come off of being chairwoman of the Ohio Bankers League. I made many, many trips to DC over the last year. The one thing I will say, despite the enormous amount of uncertainty that we have with the current administration, is that the regulatory environment is much more favorable towards banks. Now, why do you care about that? Because when we're not spending a ton of money trying to navigate all the regulatory issues that are going on, it impacts your pocketbook because we don't have to pass some of those costs, onto you from a legal perspective, or if there's a reg or rule that we have to implement, figuring out how to do that. And so from that perspective, it is better. But on the flip side, this current administration is very, very aggressively going after cryptocurrency regulation. And that is creating a lot of stress for us as bankers because it's happening whether we want it to or not. That that ship has kind of left the port, but we didn't really put a lot of rules around that. It's like we passed the legislation and now figure out all the rules after the fact. And there is concern about how we're going to regulate companies that aren't traditional banking, but are involved in crypto. Are they federally insured? Do people understand when they put money there that, it may or may not be at risk depending on what happens with it? And then there's also concern from a banking perspective that these organizations, these companies that are not typically bank, are going to be able to pay some sort of premium or quote unquote interest that would be higher than what a bank would pay, that would encourage people to move money over there. But if they're not federally insured, then, is your money safe? Think of it a little bit, and this is a much smaller impression, but think about Starbucks. So how many people have a Starbucks rewards account here? Okay. Starbucks has one of the largest balances in their rewards program, in many cases larger than small community banks. If Starbucks were to ever go out of business, that money is gone. It's not insured. So again, a much smaller, right? Your $20 or however much money you keep in there. But when you think about it, from that perspective, so that's kind of the things that we're, concerned about from crypto. And there's a lot of conversation about, are we going to back it by the dollar? Is it just going to be by the dollar? Well, then why wouldn't we just keep the dollar? We already have payment systems that work very well internationally. So there's a lot of unknown around that and a lot of questions from our perspective. around that. So I would say that is the hot topic from a banking perspective. I would say we think there'll be moderate economic growth this year. That's kind of what we're looking for. The Fed will meet later this month. We're not anticipating a rate cut this month. If you want it for laughs and giggles, this is what bankers do. That's how boring we are. We'll go out and check the betting to see, are they, what's Vegas thinks going to happen with the rate. But we do anticipate a rate cut in March. And so the good news that's been happening with, there's still a lot of uncertainty with the Fed because we're going to have a retirement. Trump's going to be able to name at least one, potentially two federal governors. Will they be more aggressive than what they've been before? Obviously, there's been a lot of pressure. From a banking perspective, what we don't want is the rates to drop at an accelerated rate the way they went up. So if you remember, after the bank failures that happened, based on crypto, by the way, after the banks failures that happened, the Fed raised interest rates significantly over a period of 5, 6, 7 months. That created an enormous amount of stress on the financial industry, in particular banks, because we didn't budget for that expense. And we have the same problem if it drops too quickly. It creates a lot of stress on the financial industry, which again can impact the safety of it. And when I say, it's been a more favorable regulatory environment, what I would say is we are not in favor of no regulations. That is, we absolutely have to have regulations in place to ensure that our financial economy stays stable. But overburden of regulation is where, the heavy hand comes in and it becomes incredibly expensive and difficult for banks to navigate. An example of this would be Rule 1071, which is something that the previous administration was really advocating for and putting in place. It's part of the Dodd-Frank Act. So way back from 9/11, there's still parts and pieces of that act that are still being implemented, if you can believe it or not, 20 years later. And this particular rule required, banks are always the ones that have to collect the data because we're the one people that everybody has to use. And this particular rule would require us to track data from every business that we lent to that had more than 500 transactions a month. So you think about a small business, and even if you're taking checks or you do credit cards, or it was a big group of people that we would have had to collect data. And the data in our mind was very intrusive, what we were required to ask our small business owners. And we would be fined if we didn't take in that information. So those are some of the things from an overreach perspective where we're trying to not overburden ourselves in the collection piece of it, but at the same time also not put extra strain on our customers. So a little bit about that. So global growth, estimates are right around 2.8%. So moderate growth. We're expecting the same with the United States economy. So how the global economy goes, that's how we're expecting the US economy. And we're expecting slow inflation. So if you've been following any of it, the big quandary, if you say, per se, is what are the tariffs doing? Are they impacting it positive or negatively? Part of the issue is can you trust any of the data out there? I know we were just talking about some other things in the news, and it's really difficult right now, right, to be able to know whether the information you're getting is incorrect or is correct. And we saw that with unemployment numbers. We saw that with a lot. So everything is being politicized right now, and that makes it really difficult to understand whether the information you're receiving or not is accurate, and then be able to discern how you want to move from that. But we do believe inflation is going to continue to slow. But I would also say moderate growth in the economy doesn't necessarily mean all of our business owners are doing well. We are starting to see some softening in some credit. We're starting to see people that are struggling a little bit to make payments. So that long-term sort of process that's been happening, that environment is starting to wear a bit on business owners. And so we're really trying to keep an eye on that. And then the job market is considered to continue to be tight. But again, the job numbers are manipulated in so many different ways to be able to determine, to sway from one side to the other. I used to say this all the time after the pandemic, when the Fed really didn't want to lower rates, right? Because they kept saying inflation, but they kept pointing towards the job market, right? The job market, the job market, the job market. And I remember I had a meeting with Fed Gov Mickey Bowman, and we were talking about this. And my comment to her was, the job market does not perform the same way now as it did before the pandemic. So the pandemic was 5 years ago, right? And we're still feeling the effects of it, but the job market has never come back in the same way. It's very different. You have people working remote, you have people, working part-time, you have people in the office, all these different dynamics. To expect to be able to look at the job market numbers and analyze them to determine policy the same way that we did before the pandemic is crazy, because it's not performing the same way. And so there's a lack of willingness, I guess I would say, to kind of look at those things a little differently or through a little bit different of a lens to be able to determine whether that's really the right measurement or not to determine that. AI is a really driving force right now, guys, in the market. I know we're probably all tired of hearing about it, but it is going to continue to really impact the economy. And you're going to see more and more legislation around AI as everybody kind of wrestles with how do we handle that. Fiscal policy is going to continue to drive the economy, and we've already talked a bit about the uncertainty in fiscal policy right now and how that's going to drive things. Trade policy, we've seen a bit of this, right? I don't know about you. I have tariff fatigue. They're on, they're off, they're on, they're off, right? That is going to continue to impact the economy and the market as we continue to negotiate through trade policy. And then, of course, monetary policy. I've talked a little bit about the rate cuts. If you think about risk and uncertainty, we've talked about that a little bit, trade tensions, the AI transition. And then there's something called the K-shaped recovery. And what that talks about is the widening gaps between the high income and the lower income households and how we're going to handle that. I mean, it's a real issue that we're going to have to, that's going to continue to impact our fiscal policy. So how does that impact Worthington? So what I would tell you is you're going to continue to see as rates drop, mortgage rates drop. So that is one of the nice things that's happening with the rate drop is mortgage rates continue to decrease. That allows, hopefully will help be able to open up some homes, especially first-time homeowners who have very much been shut out of the process with the higher interest rates. The other thing you will see is people aren't leaving their homes because a lot of folks are locked in at that 2.9, 2.5% interest rate. They're not going anywhere until that rate gets somewhere along there, because if they're selling that home in order to be able to move into a new home, if they need a mortgage, they're going to be negatively impacted. They're not going to be able to get as much house as what they're currently in. What I will say is as prime continues to drop, commercial and small business line of credit rates will drop. But what it doesn't impact is commercial real estate and term loans. Those people get very concerned because they're like, why is my term loan not dropping? Or why is my rate not dropping on a commercial real estate? Those are based on the Treasury. And those rates, go the opposite way of prime typically when you're looking at stuff like that. So I think from a Worthington perspective, it will be very interesting to see. Politics always plays into it. So what does city council do? I don't want to open up that can of worms here. But it'll be very interesting to see what they do from that perspective as far as codes, allowing development, et cetera. I don't know if you all saw the notice yesterday, Pies and Pints just closed. The Worthington Mall, I don't want to speak for David McCorkle, but obviously the Worthington Mall is a challenge for us right now. We had such high hopes for that property, and then the pandemic hit. I used to tell people, so we have the mortgages until recently. We held all the mortgages on the property at the corner of High and Wilson Bridge. And if you remember, for a long time, it just sat, they tore down the hotel and then it sat there with a big piece of equipment. And I was always like, people were like, do you want to put your sign up? I'm like, I don't want anybody to know. I have the paper on that because nothing was happening there. And so, but those sorts of things really impacted that. And you see things like the Worthington Mall, who we met with those owners multiple times, and there was a lot of mixed use planned there and office building and stuff. And that office space is still really challenging right now. Banks do not want to lend to it at all. We're not super excited about retail either. I mean, you think about the big boxes that are going under and some of that. And so really from a banking perspective, multifamily is what we're most interested in from a commercial real estate perspective. And you still have to have a fairly deep capital stack. So you're starting to see cranes go up again, but those business developers that were sort of in that lower tier that didn't have deep capital stacks, like some of your larger developers, really were unable to get financing to continue their project. I know I'm running out of time, but I wanted to say, Jennifer asked me to talk a few minutes about the cruise sponsorship. And so we were super excited a couple of years ago to partner with the Columbus Crew, something I worked really hard on. It is not an easy negotiation. The contract was like this thick. And it's cheap. It's not inexpensive to partner with a sports organization like that. We just finished a 3-year contract. I will tell you, we decided not to renew it for another 3, in part to a lot of the changes that are happening with the Crew. They're still an amazing organization, but if you read anything around when the lower.com naming conversation came up, and he was very candid. They still sponsor it, but he was very candid about everybody wants it now and the price goes up. And there's a national firm now really kind of negotiating for those Crew sponsorships. And so we got what we wanted out of it, which was a lot of exposure beyond Worthington. And so for us, it was really a well-earned investment that we got our return on. So when I first came to the bank, our first goal was to really kind of quote unquote own Worthington, that's sort of what we said internally, but we wanted to be the community bank of Worthington. If we were going to be corporately headquartered here, then we needed to be the community bank of Worthington. And we went from 12th, 13th in deposit market share here in Worthington, up to 3, just behind Huntington and Chase. And for a small community bank like that, that's really big movement. And we did that by really focusing in on Worthington and doing a lot of things that Jennifer said. Expanding to the Crew helped take us beyond the boundaries of Worthington so that other people could know who we were. When you think about banking in Columbus, and all you have to do is drive down High Street to see it, we literally have over 60 competitors. We have insurance companies that do a lot of banking. You mentioned wealth management. We have banks that come from out of town that just put in a production office that just sit there to do loans. You have credit unions, you have community banks, you have large regional banks, and of course the big national players. And so for a small community bank like ourselves that has 3 branches in Columbus, a lot of people know who we are. And that was a really important thing for us to help us be able to grow. So as I wrap up, I wanted to just take a minute or two. I think most of you know that I'm retiring in April. And many years ago, I spoke at the Leadership for a Lifetime Award ceremony, and I pulled those comments back out because they spoke of my love and gratitude for this community, and they still ring true today. So I wanted to share them with you. I love Worthington. It's my home. I've raised my family here. I tell Trent all the time, I will be 31 years in the school district when Nate graduates next May, or this May. This May, he's a senior. And I'm always like, I think I deserve a brick or something for that. I think he said maybe a certificate. I wanted something a little more substantial. But I have made forever friends here. And of course, I'm going to finish my career here. What I wanted to make sure, and you all know this because you're such pillars in our community, but Worthington is a city built on a foundation of community. When you say the word community here in our town, it means so much more than a place. It means having a school district that cares about more than academics, where the whole student is cared for. It's where Park and Rec ensures that we have great green spaces for all our residents, regardless of age, and have programming for our health in mind. It's where neighbors can enjoy pizza while listening to a concert on the green on a beautiful Sunday evening. It's where city government works hard to collaborate with all of our citizens to ensure we have a greater place to live. It's where the Chamber of Commerce works tirelessly to promote our fabulous businesses, and the Worthington Partnership ensures our downtown stays unique and relevant. It's where our fire and police department don't just keep us safe, but call us by name when they're doing it. It's a community where we have a strong support system of organizations that ensure not one of our neighbors is left behind. Whether it's the Worthington Resource Pantry, Buddy Box Connections, I Am Boundless, Worthington Bridges, and so many more too numerous to list. It's where we have one of the best library systems in the state, and where our Rotary organizations are hosting duck races or the 4th of July picnic. We live in an amazing city that reflects a community of caring, loving individuals who work together diligently to make this a great place to live and work. If you had told me that in the twilight of my career, I'd have an opportunity to work for a bank that aligned so completely with my vision and beliefs, as well as Worthington, I would have told you were crazy. That I could build a bank and have an opportunity to make a difference in the community I call home, well, that's a dream job. Yet here I am. I remember when I first started at FC, people did not even know where we were. I would jokingly say, I always tell people we're right next to the fire station, but if I do my job right, one day people will say the fire station is next to FC Bank. I think that was how the water main break worked the other day. And when that happens, I was going to print t-shirts for everyone. FC Bank, to me, really embodies the values and beliefs of Worthington. We really are your community bank. We created a set of cardinal rules, guiding principles per se, that help us ensure we're doing what we say we will. Cardinal rule number 7 says, we don't just lend money, we lend our hands and our hearts too. And I have really, as the leader of the bank, tried to strive to live that cardinal rule every day. You'll find FC employees volunteering to serve summer lunches, working chamber events, building buddy boxes, serving on boards, and doing whatever we can do to make a difference. We do this because the community matters, because how we do business is as important as doing business. And we want other businesses to step up too. For us, if we can get everyone to go all in and get involved, then Worthington wins. We created the 10 fantastic charities as a way to give back, to say thank you to those organizations who work so hard to make this a great place to live. It's our gift to the city to say thank you for letting us be Worthington's community bank. So one of my favorite leadership quotes that I'm going to share with you here, because you're all leaders in your own right. Leadership is about serving and supporting others. It requires the ability to connect, inspire, and provide people with clear vision and focus. It's about creating a culture, a whole work environment where people can maximize their potential. Leadership is not about command and control. If you try to control people, you will fail. Leadership is not about you. It's about what you do to help others perform and succeed. Manage the business, lead the people. That was from our own Worthington, Tim Kite. Worthington is filled with such leaders. In fact, all of you sitting here in this room are part of that cohort. You are the reason Worthington is such an amazing place to work and play, and I'm honored to call you my neighbors and friends. And as friends, I have one last thing to share with you. I found out a few days before Christmas that I have melanoma. After a full day at the James yesterday, I'm scheduled for surgery next Thursday, January 15th. Mark and I plan to tackle this the way we approach everything, work the problem together. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about the potential outcome, but a wise woman told me today that this is not the end of my story. So if you could send positive vibes my way and add me to your prayer list, I would really appreciate it. I'll be out of the office for a few weeks, but my hope is to be out and about for one of my favorite events, the Old Worthington Chocolate Walk. Finally, thank you to the Rotary for all you do for our community. And yes, FC would be proud to sponsor the 4th of July picnic again this year. Thank you.
No. It is just not done. So yes, please to understand how grateful we are for your service and FC Bank's assistance and engagement with the community and Rotary, and all the best of luck to you. You're going to get a lot of positive vibes from this gang here. Speaking of positive vibes, we have another pleasant thing to do today. Would you approach, please, Rebecca Herman and Scott, please, and Jennifer, if you'll come up. We have the happy occasion of being able to induct a new member today. So, and I have to stay back here so I can prop up my phone and read this teeny type of this very long speech that John Butterfield crafted and made longer at every edit. So, if you will.
I've known him way too long.
Shall we start with a speech, or do you guys want to say a few words? All right, here we go. On behalf of the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club, it's my privilege to induct a new member today, Rebecca Herman. You're beginning a great adventure in leadership, friendship, and service to your community and your fellow men. You've been invited to membership by your sponsors, Jennifer Best and Scott Lawrence as well. I think you're also ratified by ye all as well. And the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club has accepted you as a person of good character, high ethical standards, and a person who has the heart of service and will represent your business classification as a leader in the community. As has the voters of Worthington, by the way, but specifically us here. We encourage you to learn all you can about Rotary and to share your own professional and personal skills by actively participating in club activities, including attending weekly meetings, social events, and service projects, as you've done a number of all of those already. Furthermore, you will be provided with many opportunities to serve others through club service, vocational service, community service, new generation service, and international service, known as our avenues of service. Our club is known for great work in Worthington and Dublin communities, in the Dominican Republic, in Mexico, and Mongolia, and we welcome you in helping us change lives. While you've been invited to join a worldwide organization dedicated to the ideal of service, it will be through your own actions that you become a Rotarian. I'm proud to be a Rotarian, and it's my pleasure to provide you with a pin by which your fellow Rotarians and the community at large will recognize you as a Rotarian, and we ask you that you wear it proudly. Your sponsor, Jennifer, will now pin on the Rotary emblem and give you your red badge. And we'll turn around and we're gonna make the hokey pokey out of this thing.
Here.
Okay, we got the
And
minute.
Scott, will you present the red badge? Okay.
Yes, and so
I'm gonna.
present it and then give it back because your last name's not spelled right. I
Oh, you need more ends?
need more N.
I knew you had two ends.
Is that the seventh thing that's going on?
We might be at 8 actually, Scott, but thank you. I hope somebody keep track of that. I also have a challenge for you. It's for you to share the invitation that was given to you by your sponsor and to invite other persons of your same qualities of character, reputation, and commitment to join our club within the next year. The honor of becoming a Rotarian is only surpassed by sponsoring a new member. Do you accept that challenge?
I accept that challenge.
Thank you. It said thank you here, so I think John had anticipated your answer. And I also have a challenge for our members. Developing strong relationships among members is one of the keys to the success of our club over the past 50, almost 51 years. Members, do you commit yourselves to do your part in making Rebecca feel welcome and to assist her in getting engaged in the club?
We do.
Thank you. Also anticipated that. John knows you people. With that, I declare Rebecca Herman duly inducted into the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club. Please rise, members, and with your applause, help welcome Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jane. Welcome. So John pretty much wrote everything I was thinking of saying, but for those of you that don't know, Rebecca, she is a Worthington City Council member. She's, of course, a community volunteer. She volunteers in the schools with her children and has already been to, a social event and helped with a community service project. So we're looking really forward a lot to your membership. So
Thank you.
Glad to have you. Thank you.
May I say something?
Please do. Please do.
I feel that this was very serendipitous that today was the day that I get to be inducted because I get to follow Jenny with her kind words today. I am from Bucyrus, Ohio, where FC Bank used to have their corporate buildings. And when I found out that FC was coming here, I got super excited because I thought I can bank with my dad, we'll have this banking system together. And then what I found was the bank that I grew up with, the community leaders in Bucyrus, came and shared the same rural sense of community here in Worthington. And I couldn't be prouder. With everywhere I go, I run into Jenny. It's a woman's event. It's a afternoon event. It's a chamber event. And Jenny was always there. So you were definitely the heart of FC Bank. You've definitely made a change here. And I greatly appreciate you. And you do have our prayers going forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca, Jenny's going to have more time in May. You could get an application ready.
Scott's already on this, he's like ready to pounce. So as nice as all of this has been, some people are here just for the raffle. So
oh, true.
All right. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
Something that I would like to share. Yes, I am on city council. I was voted in as president pro tem on Monday. And so thank you for that. There are obviously a lot of questions going on in Worthington, and I want you to know that my door and my phone are always open. If you have any questions or have any concerns, there is no stupid question. There is no time that I don't have available. So if you have any questions about Worthington in particular, I am more than happy to answer anything for you.
Thank you so much. Ro, would you? I bought some tickets.
It's turned out to be a pretty good meeting. I hope Rose was elected for some most of us.
I'll be disappointed if she doesn't make some mistake, frankly.
$68 and then 1,077 in the six. So first one is for 68. 1707.
1707. Yes.
You can ruin it for him.
1794. That's you.
One of these right here.
All right. Well, there's one less ticket in the bin for next time. All right. Of the things we think, say, and do, first, second, third, and fourth. Thanks, everybody. Remember to return your badges, even those who just got one. There you go. Adjourned.
And you still take the funny, it's REIS. So.
I know, right? Right? Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
Where they showed my soccer game, that was a long way to be out of the rain. Yeah, definitely. And I get absolutely all down. Right. Well, what are you doing about progress? It's fun. Great. Oh. Graham doing well. Good doing all down the. Mark. Thanks for being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, only do.
Yeah, I mean, when we had the turkey giveaway, it was all the way around the block, all the way down to Wilson Bridge Road. So it was pretty amazing.
Well, how are you?
Congratulations. Welcome. Welcome now.
He was in Rotary. Like, he was the dean of the Texas A&M. Yeah, and so he was here at he wanted to go with Rashawn Center. So for international and everything. So he became a Rotarian, but it can be, you know, that's 6. So he's been in it and he kept on. Do this. I'm like, okay, well, you know, Jimmy Bird and my other hand, going, you don't need to be a bird. And so you need to try to understand. And so then I was like, okay, I hate that to one of them. And
Wow, I'm glad to hear it.
he's said to be friends.
I was a good
Our travel agent, Brett, yeah, there's somewhere. So on, but he has
Everybody can. I've been walking. Make it work. You have my prayers and thank you so much. I'm sorry. For many years.
Here's the travel agent. I know that brought travels with different travels at times and talking about the stuff. That's what he just said. Like that. He's a trooper when they are. So. Yeah. Bill and I had gone the map or something, and we weren't in that. That's why they have put the paper. And yeah.